Talk Real Estate with Sharon McNamara, sponsored by Boston Connect Real Estate Services.
Hi, I'm Sharon McNamara, and you are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. Let me share a little bit about my background before we get started. I am the broker-owner of Boston Connect Real Estate, a boutique real estate firm that is home to over 30 real estate sales and marketing consultants who service home buyers and home sellers throughout Boston, the South Shore, the South Coast, and Cape Cod. Our firm takes pride in assisting our clients in the next chapter of their lives by taking a holistic approach to their real estate endeavors. We believe that every move should be a moving experience. Every week, my real estate team member, Mary Baker, and I, along with the director of Boston Connect Real Estate, Melissa Wallace, provide you with our unique marketing approach to selling homes and share with you our expertise in navigating the home buying process. We like to mix it up sometimes, so not only will you hear our perspective on real estate topics, but you will hear the expert thoughts and opinions of some of our real estate agents at Boston Connect Real Estate and the preferred professionals that we trust. Be part of our roundtable. If you have any questions during the show, please call 781-837-4900. We'd love to talk real estate. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and wherever you listen to podcasts at Talk Real Estate Roundtable. If you would like a one-on-one consultation with me and my team or one of the dedicated agents at Boston Connect Real Estate to discuss your real estate needs, you can connect with us at bostonconnect.com or 781-826-8000. Now, sit back, relax, take good notes, and let's talk real estate.
And hello to all our South Shore neighbors. You are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. I am Mary Baker, and we are in studio today. I have Sharon with me doing the technical stuff as she always does. And I have some pretty awesome, don't actually know if we're going right now because our intro music is still going.
That's good. Yeah, he does that.
Oh, okay.
It's a slow fade. Keep going. Keep going.
I was going to say, I haven't been on live radio in probably, I don't know, like 4 weeks at this point. I was on vacation, and then, I got COVID, as people do these days. But here I am. I'm back and in action. We are doing a really interesting show, a show that I'm going to love because it's kind of in my wheelhouse, but we're talking home buying in 2022, what it looks like, and we have some pretty awesome first-time home buyers in the room with us today. So we have Sharon's cousin's daughter, Alicia Pavadore. Did I say it right? Yes. Alicia Pavadore. I just like saying it like that. Like I feel like I want to do the Italian Pavadore. It's amore. It's amore. I love that. And her wonderful significant other, Kyle Simmons. Say hi, guys.
Hello, everyone.
So we are live on the radio, but I know Sharon's getting us live on Facebook, and I think some people are watching us. Right? Maybe a little bit.
8 people.
8 people. Awesome. That's all we need. All we need is one.
Yeah.
And then it makes it all worth it. But so we are talking home buying today, and we were joking before we went live saying, you guys, we'll kind of get into it a little bit, but you guys have kind of had an easy ride in comparison to what a lot of home buyers have experienced, or a lot of home buyers in today's market have experienced. So it'll be a nice change of pace, right? Not so Debbie Downer.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got really lucky.
So why don't you introduce yourselves? Alicia, why don't you go first? Just tell us a little bit about yourself. I did put on the agenda, I said age, profession, just so people can get to know you and set you up for what your experiences have been like.
All right. So my name's Alicia. I am 26 years old, and I am a physician assistant at Boston Medical Center. Pretty much, we've just been looking for maybe a month now with you guys, and we got really lucky, and we just closed on we just got our offer accepted on our condo in Whitman, so we're pretty pumped.
Even more than that, you signed a purchase and sales agreement.
Well, look at that, yeah.
Even more than that, so even more secure.
Yeah.
What about you, Kyle?
And my name is Kyle. I grew up in Berkeley, Massachusetts. I'm 27 years old. I'm a mechanical engineer. I work in Boston. Alicia and I live in Quincy right now. We've been there for the last year or so, and we're looking forward to our next move into Whitman.
What does a mechanical engineer do? And I know that completely off topic, but it sounds very fancy.
It does sound fancy. There's a lot of different types of mechanical engineers, a lot of different paths you can take. I work in the commercial construction business, so we work with a lot of high rises with renovations or new construction, and we'll provide mechanical, electrical, fire protection, plumbing services for new construction builds.
So are you doing all that stuff in the Seaport?
Yeah, mostly Seaport, downtown Boston.
So
Anything
you're
in
the
greater
reason I don't
Boston area.
recognize anything when I go in there anymore.
Exactly.
He just was in Ohio. He's
yeah.
in Burlington, Vermont.
Oh,
they do
wow.
jobs kind of.
Yeah, we do a lot of traveling, a lot of work all over the country.
That's awesome. Burlington. Sharon, is that where Mackenzie went to school? St. Mike's?
Yep.
So
Yep.
Sharon's daughter, Mackenzie, went to St. Mike's up in Burlington, Vermont.
Oh yeah.
It's a small world.
Yeah,
I've
right?
never visited.
Oh, you
I heard
should.
it's beautiful.
It's a great area.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, it is really nice up there.
I
Lots of fun like bars and.
don't know. Sharon
restaurants.
has been raving about the.
Could you guys boost your mics, please? Your levels are really low.
Sharon, we need to boost our mics. Our levels are
They
very
went
low.
down. I don't know what happened.
Okay. Is that getting better?
Yeah.
Okay. But Sharon's been raving about this pizza joint that's up there. I have no idea what the name of it is. When she gets on, she can share it with everybody. But there's a pizza joint up in Burlington, Vermont that I literally, that's the first place I have to go if I ever go. She's been raving about it for 8 years.
Oh my goodness.
8.
Have you been?
I have not.
So
There's
she's
a lot
got
of
to
great
tell
food
you,
up
and if
there.
you're going up to Burlington, Vermont, you got to go get the pizza, and then you have
yeah.
to tell me if it's as amazing as she says it is.
Yeah.
It's
They
a
do
great,
like.
great vacationing spot for foodies, anyone that's trying to
Yeah.
go around different spots,
Especially your
different
male
restaurants.
guest. I don't know if he's away from his mic, but his needs to go up, please. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So, thank you for introing yourself. With regard to what we wanted to chat about today, is what the home buying process and experience has been for you guys, right?
Yeah.
So, I'll kind of set it up, right? We met. What was the first step? You know, we met on the phone. You set up a conference call with Sharon to kind of go over what the process is. She brought me into that conversation. And then that was when I was actually going away on vacation. So we set you up with Jasmine from Maritime Mortgage, right?
Jasmine's listening too, isn't she?
I think she is.
Yeah, maybe Jasmine, you can actually, Jasmine, if you want to call into the radio studio, 781-837-4900, we can get you in here, or I can bring you on Facebook somehow. I don't know. Maybe call the studio. I think Tim can get you through.
But so setting you up with Jasmine and talk about that process a little bit and how that worked with her when you talked to her about getting pre-approved and how her team was able, how quick and easy was that? Because it was.
Yeah. I can't even believe how fast I was able to get pre-approved. I feel like it took maybe 8 hours, maybe 12 hours.
So not as scary as what everybody thinks, right? They're like, oh, do I really have to go through the process of getting pre-approved? How long is it going to take?
Exactly. And they gave me like a list of what we needed to give information-wise, and it really wasn't that hard to obtain, really. But I had pretty much all of those things. I sent
What
it
was
in.
on the list?
I know it was like my license, my
Probably
like, tax
W-2s.
returns, yeah, W-2s.
2 months of bank statements.
2 months of bank statements, which was just going online and printing something out.
So all pretty easily accessible,
yes,
right?
definitely.
And it was nice that we were close to tax season too, because all the documents were still readily available.
Exactly, yeah, we just like got them
Yeah.
from doing that. So, and then it was like, I think the next morning, George had texted me and was like, all right, that's it. Like, you're pre-approved. Like, here's your...
Did you fill out
pre-approval
anything online, like a questionnaire or anything, or was it literally just, hey, these are all the documents, sending it? I think they do like a secure website that you send everything through.
Yes, I forgot about that. They had sent us a link, and then it was a questionnaire just of, like, how much your mortgage, how much, like...
What you're currently spending potentially?
Exactly. And then just, like, some preference questions, and then at the end, just, like, upload the documents to the PDFs and submitted it.
Yeah, because I mean, you guys really, I was gone. I was gone, so I wasn't part of the process, but came back and kind of like hit the ground running. It was literally, we talked on, I don't know, like a Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
a
Yeah.
Tuesday or a Wednesday.
And you were leaving that following month or
Yep,
weekend.
I was leaving that following week, and you guys got pre-approved that week,
Yeah.
right? And kind
I
of.
think it was so. We felt bad for you guys at the time, like the timing that you guys called us,
Mary never, I can't remember the last time Mary went on vacation.
No.
Never.
6 years ago.
Yeah, and then my daughter Casey is getting married, so she's getting married in Greece we leave May 25th, but I was having like a big party at my house that same weekend, right?
Oh, yeah, I forgot that all coincided.
Yeah, so you were on vacation. I was having a little get-together that ended up being 75 people, a tent, tables,
75 people?
Yeah, there was a lot of people there. You missed a really good party.
I know, I was sad. I FaceTimed her from the airport. I was like, I'm missing you guys.
Well, Mary has been with me since she was 21, by the way. So
wow. That's 11 years.
Yeah, so she's sort of like one of my daughters. So she grew up with my girls, So we had that, so I was not available. And then Evis, I know, was like a one-arm paper hanger, wallpaper hanger, because she was with all other buyers that you had too, and then trying to like work with you guys, and then I'm like paying attention. I was like, literally, if they screw up my cousin's child, I am not going to be happy. Like just like sort of scrolling along, but like didn't want to be like micromanaging, even though like I was like following along. And then there was something else that happened. Oh, then Mary came back, had COVID. I had to move my other daughter, Mackenzie, move apartments for her, which was hellish in Newport. So, yeah, so you guys sort of got like thrown in. And then, then I hear, they got accepted.
Got an accepted offer.
Yeah. I'm like, really? Wow, that was good.
It wasn't even on Mother's Day, so we went and saw a house, a couple of houses. We saw 3 on Mother's Day.
I do remember Mother's Day.
Yeah, on Mother's Day.
I told her I was willing to be with you on Mother's Day.
Oh.
Wow,
yes.
dedication.
I was like,
well, my kids, like, seriously, they're 26 and 27. They don't care about their mother.
Well, I was like, I'm the only one who doesn't have kids, so it makes the most sense for me. But I prepped. So I had talked to you guys, obviously, before leaving the house, and if you were comfortable with me, it had been days since I was showing symptoms from COVID. But anyways, and it was the first house. It was the first house that I had seen with you, which is kind of interesting.
That's true. We were with Evis the entire time before.
Yeah. How many houses did you see with Evis? Now I'm just curious to see how many.
4? 3 or 4.
3 or 4.
Really, 2. The Rockland condo, the Rockland Randolph house, and then the condo.
In the West Bridgewater house.
We didn't see that with her.
What was that, Ash?
That's true. Yeah.
That was the one that her and I happened to be around the corner, and we were like, oh, no worries, we're around the corner.
That was so funny. I remember we were texting you guys, and we had mentioned like, hey, I just got pre-approved. Like, I know this is not the right order to go in. We haven't even met you yet in person, but like, I think we want to put an offer on this house. And me and Kyle were laughing to each other because you guys worked so fast with your text messages within like seconds of each other.
What do you mean? You're at the house?
You were like, oh, we'll be there in 5 minutes. Okay, we're here. This is what we think. Like, do this.
Do you have a second to talk? Let's chat about the house.
You were like, oh my God, I guess we're in good hands here because this is so funny how fast everything was working.
Yeah, within a 24-hour period, we got pre-approved. They went and looked at the house. We looked at the house, and we put an offer on the house.
Yeah.
Well, so that's not how we normally do anything. So one of the things I remember right before, obviously, the first step for us in the process is always, like a nice little intro with you guys, and then we're getting you pre-approved.
I want to also state for the record that Mary was completely stressed out about you being out there looking at houses before she went through her, presentation.
I know.
She's like, I haven't sat with them. I haven't gone over everything with them. They don't know what the process is, And I was like, I'm sure that everything will be okay, Mary.
We'll figure it
Yeah,
out.
Mary was freaking out about that.
Well, so so I did get you guys set up on MLS. I was going to say, I don't even know that you got into MLS.
I'm not sure. Did we? I've never been on that website.
Yeah.
You might not be. I legitimately cannot remember if we even had an opportunity to put you in MLS.
That's what I felt so bad too after, because I was like, we did this the completely wrong way, and we're so unorthodox with that, and I just was like, I'm getting them off of their normal,
But it all worked out. So
here we are.
Yeah, exactly. Here we are. So one of the things is, we're getting you set up with Jasmine to get you a pre-approval, and then usually I would be going through, and this is a crazy little home buying process, step-by-step thing that I have. Probably there's 14 steps. There's 14 steps, and there's a whole presentation that we typically do just to try and eliminate a lot of unknowns or set expectations for what the process is going to look like, which normally you guys are 1,000% the exception to the rule, because normally it doesn't look anything like this. Usually in that home buyers meeting, I'm talking about how, sale to list price ratio, so properties are going 6% over list 90% of the time, or what waiving contingencies looks like, if it's the right move for you, if it's not the right move for you. Like, you might have to, I always joke, like, for unmarried women, you got to kiss a lot of frogs before you find your prince. Sometimes you have to put in a lot of offers before you get the house. You guys didn't do that.
No,
you guys didn't do that.
We did not. We got really lucky.
Yeah.
I don't even know how there's 14 steps.
You're on like you're on.
Why did we pick them again? So this is what normally does not happen.
You're on like step 10 at this point.
Nice.
We're really in the home stretch.
So what did you think about, like, when you first decided to start, and then your mom's like, oh, call my cousin, blah,
Excuse
blah,
me,
blah,
Sharon, I don't mean to interrupt, but you do have
You can.
Jasmine's on the phone. She's waiting to jump in here.
Okay, perfect. Hey, Jazz.
Hey, it's so nice to see you guys all on Facebook together.
Alicia's hiding.
I feel like everything happens like in the kind of a mystical creature way. I text Mary, I was like, who's standing near you? Because I don't want to be creepy, but I recognize your license photos. I was like, they're real people.
Yeah, we are.
I don't want to be creepy, but I am.
Well, a lot of the times you don't get to meet anybody in person anymore, or you don't.
No.
I mean, until closing day, maybe.
People think I like work from a cave and I'm just like hiding out. It's night before every meeting was in person, and it's so great because it's like this last week you guys have been like my unicorn story. I've been telling everybody, I was like, no guys, it can happen. You don't even actually get to meet your realtor, really.
You just go to an open house.
Jasmine, so, I thought it was really interesting too. I mean, we talk all the time about the misconceptions of, especially I would say first-time home buyers, where they feel like they have to put 20% down, and they think that the process is really, and Kyle is shaking his head right now. And, we're going to have a little get-together for all your friends, and we'll put a class together for them so Mary can finally do her presentation and Jasmine can talk to all them. But I thought it was very interesting to hear Alicia say how easy the process was. So how were they in the whole process back to you guys?
Oh, my goodness. Here's the thing. It comes down to organization. Like George and I, my right-hand man, we were talking, like, yeah, these people couldn't be more organized or faster. And it's so excellent to see that, because we request it, it comes right over, and we're like, yeah, we can get this out. It was like we move some things around and fit it in quickly, because it's clean, it's concise, and as long as you're organized, as long as you're ready to do it, and they were ready to do it, it was easy. And it's great to work with people like that, because we're all working towards the same goal, like getting you guys a house. And it's like when you guys show up with your documents, we're like, oh, they actually mean it. So like they're really ready.
Thank you.
Kyle, you had said, it was great because it was like tax time like that. But had you guys, either one of you can answer this. Have you been doing some research on like, what will I need? And you were shaking your head. You thought you needed 20% down.
Yeah, we knew that there were different options available, and we knew some of the documents that we're going to need going ahead. Knowing that we can do a 3.5%, 5%, we're just trying to look to see what made the most sense for us. But luckily, George and Jasmine kind of answered that question on their own, and they didn't really let us pick. It was more like, no, this will get your skin in the game, and you can move forward. You put yourself in a good situation monthly and on a first down payment.
So what were you doing?
Right that.
Oh, go ahead, Jess.
I was saying, you guys are at that point now. It's like now, you know what you need to do to get into the market. Like, okay, when we're out there, we're shopping, which, again, unicorn story, super fast. But you're kind of figuring out on each house, like, okay, what can you afford? And now that you have a signed purchase and sale, we're going to kind of go through all that again. You guys are going to be able to decide, okay, do we want to put a little bit more down to kind of round the numbers out? Are we sticking with, 5%, say? And, maybe do we want to put a little bit more? Do we want to buy down points, which is, selecting your interest rate and whatnot? So as much as we try to make it general, kind of shoot high on the rate, shoot a little higher on a down payment to kind of make sure that you're meeting the minimum, but you're also not kind of leaving yourself broke, or at least house poor. And now you're at that step where Monday we're going to be having a long conversation about where you want to be rate-wise. So it's one step ahead.
Next step. See, that was in my process.
Exactly.
That was in my process.
We never went over this with me.
Yeah, Mary skipped all of it. But you know what, Jasmine? I'm actually going to ask them a question because we've been all sort of speculating what's in the buyers' minds right now. So Kyle and Alicia, seeing the interest rates sort of going up, was that sort of an indicator to you that maybe you should move faster than waiting to see until they get in the 8s and 9s?
It was definitely scary. I know everyone's trying to wait and hoping that the market will correct itself or, maybe even collapse, but it's just a scary thought going forward, knowing that we live in Quincy and we're paying, $30,000 in rent a year.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to get away from that and kind of knowing that this is a small window that we can take an opportunity, so we can kind of strike on it if we have the ability to.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's definitely true. And not that this really played a part, because I think that if we didn't get this condo and then we had to continue, we would figure it out in regards to like renting. But our lease ends July 6th, so
And we're closing June 29th.
exactly. So I mean, the timing of everything couldn't be more perfect in regards to having like an extra week in the apartment, able to just like slowly move things out as needed. So we were kind of chuckling to ourselves about the timing of everything and how perfect the stars aligned for this one.
That's perfect.
There's a little bit of that. It was meant to be type type feeling, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's
Unicorn.
something. Unicorn. Is that why you sent me 2 unicorns this morning? I didn't get it. I was like, oh, it's unicorns. Yeah, unicorns and rainbows. Good morning.
And everybody had told us too, like, oh, you guys are too late. Like, you should have started this process way sooner, because the July 6th thing, if you wanted to really be out by then, you should have started much sooner. But I'm just laughing at that.
To say, well, you know what? I had the best team that was so unorganized that they
that it just fell together.
Absolutely not.
No. So I'm sure, like, your family, so how did your family and your friends react to that? That's actually sort of a good prompting question, because were they like, did you take enough time to look at enough houses? Did you rush? Did you go too quickly?
Right. Well, sometimes I have that like passing thought. I'm like, oh, I hope that we didn't like rush anything, but I mean, I love the condo. But none of like my friends or family have at least expressed any of that to me. Maybe behind my back they did, but everybody has just been very happy for us, which is a good thing. So,
Well, I think so. You had started when you first came in. We're talking about how your coworkers were kind of prepping you for what the process was going to look like. As soon as you told them that you were going to be looking for a house, they were like, all right, well, get ready. It's a wild ride and it's going to take you a long time and you're going to miss out on a lot of houses, and kind of trying to set that expectation for you.
Yep.
And you didn't have that experience kind of at all.
No, I know. And so that first house in West Bridgewater, Ash, obviously we didn't get that. And I felt like the heartbreak after. And I was expressing that at work with like some of my coworkers, and they had been telling me like, yeah, we've put offers on like 8 houses so far and we still haven't gotten anything.
Yeah.
And they were like comparing it to being in a relationship and going through like a breakup and how you fall in love and then your heart breaks. And I'm like, oh gosh, like I got to prepare myself for this over the next few months. And then we put our second offer in on this Whitman condo, and then I go into work the next day and I was like, my offer's accepted. Everybody's just
Alicia's like,
I'm so jealous.
Alicia goes in with like 2 snaps in a circle, and I know that's old fashioned, but 2 snaps in a circle, like no one breaks my heart.
Yeah, watch out, Kyle.
Yeah, watch out, Kyle. I think he's in it for the long run. You just bought, like, you're buying a condo together. So.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So well, but you know what's interesting too is because. You know, and again, you're listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. I am Sharon McNamara, and I have Mary Baker with me, my team member, and we have some guests with us today. Actually, my cousin's daughter, Alicia, and her boyfriend, Kyle. They just went through the first-time homebuyer process with Mary and Evis and my team. So we're just talking about that. If you have any questions, I think we have 2 lines at the studio, 781-837-4900. We also have Jasmine on the line with us, who is their loan officer from Maritime Mortgage. So she's wonderful, and I told you would be in good hands with her. Like, if I'm going to use someone myself, then you're pretty confident. And I think Jasmine always gets nervous when I refer her people, especially when she'll know the difference. Like, I'm sending you my cousin's daughter. I'm sending you my nephew's, Mark's nephew.
Yeah.
Do I make you nervous, Jasmine?
There's no pressure. It's fine. It's fine.
Everything is okay.
No, I mean, we do take, and I don't want to discredit anybody here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's always a little extra something. But one important thing about me, it's not me. It's Team Maritime. It's all of us, and every single person in my office. And we're very selective on how we do it. We all care. These become our friends and our family, and this is kind of the atmosphere we take. So we all take it very personally, and so George Post has been working with them, just as much, if not more, than me on the front end, because of course Mary's traveling, I was traveling, and we're all out there.
It's like the perfect storm.
Never go on vacation.
No, I don't know why we do it. We immediately get busy. But it's a different world when you work with a team, and it's the same way with Evis, Mary. Like I think Evis and George here have been like huge cornerstones in their success.
Yeah. And it was interesting too, because when we do go through when Mary does really go through the process to get back onto the serious side a little bit, and she was talking about the street in the house in West Bridgewater, Ash. Yeah. Mary hated that house.
I know.
So I love that you just said, I know. She literally hated that house.
I was like,
and she was just like, I just don't think it's the one. That I don't think it has this, and I was in the basement, and it had ba 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 ba, and she's going on and on and on, and I was like, well,
Jasmine kind of nailed it on the head. It's not for us. It's not selling a house. It's not, writing a loan. It's literally, number one, you're Sharon's cousin's daughter and boyfriend. One, and two, I want to be your friends at the end of the day. Literally what I said to you guys about moving in, so they're moving in 4th of July weekend, I go, Sam and I have a 4th of July party, so you can come over and have a beer afterwards.
Fun.
Yeah, but it's more of that relationship, so I'm very concerned with the house that you buy, making sure that it's a good financial decision, making sure that you actually love it, that it's not going to, have a lot of unforeseen issues down the road,
right?
And really setting yourself up for success. That house was beautiful.
Yeah.
They had a lot going for it. It just also had some major red flags, in my opinion, and I was not shy about voicing that at all.
Which we needed to hear.
Yeah. So
because the blinders can be turned on very easily. So.
Did you appreciate that, or were you thinking like she's a little?
No, we needed to hear it.
Yeah.
Coming out a little strong over here, Mary. Relax.
Haven't even met you yet.
Yeah, seriously.
And did you think that would be like what the process is? Like when you thought, okay, I have to have a buyer's agent. I remember one thing, Alicia, that when I was talking to both of you, and I had said, this is the process. This is what we do. If you're going into any open houses, like say nothing, but like the process, like to have a buyer's agent representing you doesn't cost you anything. Were you surprised by that?
Yeah, I guess I don't really know anything about this process going into it, and I still
should have had the presentation.
But I just thought after, with like the whole closing costs and everything, that would be something included in the buyers, but that's the seller's problem. Yeah. So.
Very much so. And I think that's a really good question, Sharon, because, or not question, but more observation. I don't think a lot of people understand how it works. And that's what part of me going through the presentation is educating buyers on exactly how it works, so that you're not thinking like at the end of the day, oh crap, how's Mary getting paid? Or
well, that's what I felt so bad about, because we're taking all of your time on like weekends and Mother's Day, and I'm like, oh my goodness, Kyle, like we are asking for too much right now. Like we need to take a step back.
Well, see, that's why it's important too. I know we did it the exact opposite way, but that's why it's important to go through that, because we never want you to feel that way. And that's why I said to you, if there's ever any question, like text me at 10 o'clock at night. If I can't answer, I won't answer. I'll answer you the next day. But I don't want anybody ever laying in bed at night worried, sick to their stomach about anything, right? This is what we love to do. This is why we've been doing it full time as long as we have. And I think it's important. I literally just did the same presentation for somebody Wednesday or Thursday. And in going through it, I told her, I was like, we operate under complete and total transparency. All the information that I have, I'm going to give, and I want this to be a relationship. I don't want it to be like, oh, she's my agent. At the end of it, we're your friends. Like that's,
absolutely.
We feel our goal anyway.
Jasmine. Yeah. Jasmine,
Jasmine will come to the 4th of July party. Everyone's invited.
Not me. I'll be in Edgartown. I'll be in
Oh, yeah,
Edgartown.
you're always on the
I'll
boat.
be in
You're always
Edgartown.
on the boat on 4th of
Sharon,
July.
we'll go to Edgartown too.
You can come over, take the ferry. But what was I going to say? Jasmine, so what are the next steps in the process for them? And for our Facebook listeners, I'm sorry if you can't hear Jasmine because she called into the studio. We're trying to figure out that part of things, but we can
take
reiterate.
another phone call, Sharon.
Oh, you can? Okay,
yes,
great.
we have the
So-
technology.
Perfect. So if anybody does have any questions, 781-837-4900. That was Tim, my main man producer over there at WATD. We are in our home studio here in Pembroke Center. If you're going over to Stop and Shop and you want to say hello, come on over. We're here.
Come on over.
Yeah.
Now,
So Jasmine.
Christina Aguilera song stuck in my head.
What are the next steps in the process? Like, and Mary, why don't you join in with her? Like, what are the next dates that they have to be concerned about? And Jasmine, what are the next things that you're doing in the back end for their loan?
So as soon as we receive the purchase and sale agreement, cough, cough, Mary.
I literally just got it 8 minutes ago. I looked at my phone.
I
Literally
should
just
have
got
received
it.
it 6.5 minutes, though, by your normal trend.
Oh, sorry, I'm on the radio show.
I'll make sure you get it. I'll make sure you get it.
I always do. So we'll take a look at the purchase and sale agreement, and we'll confirm kind of all of our important dates. And what we're going to do on the broker side is I'm going to take that and I'm going to shop kind of your entire loan with a bunch of different lenders, and I'm going to then circle back with you guys and say, okay, as soon as markets open on Monday, usually 10:30, say, okay, this is what the rates are looking like. This is the dates. These are the best programs that I think would be, good for you. These are the different down payments based on what you have to leave reserves. And then you guys are going to choose where you want to be interest rate-wise. You can choose the market interest rate, which is going to have no cost or no credit, or you can choose a lower interest rate and pay what we call points. And a point is 1% of your loan amount. And so it could be like, 5% might have a cost of 12 basis points, so 12% of a point. And you might opt to do that instead of choosing, say, 5.091 or whatever percent. And so you'll kind of decide where you want to be if you want to spend money to get the lower rate, or if, say, you wanted help with closing costs, you could choose 5.25 and get what's called a lender credit. So we'll kind of break down all those options for you guys, and you'll choose where you want to be in the interest rate, and we'll lock it in because no one has a crystal ball, and while we hope rates come down, we are not going to play with your money. And so we're going to lock in your interest rate and get the ball rolling with the loan. And for what that looks like on our side is we're going to be submitting your loan to underwriting. So someone with a slightly fancier title than me confirms that we did the job right. And they're going to take a look at your income, assets, your credit, and the program we selected and make sure it all fits into the beautiful little bucket. And then we are going to be working with the attorney who's going to be looking at the title work of the house. And that's really the ownership history in, say, the last 50 years. They're going to do a 50-year look back and make sure that every seller from one party to the next and even the current sellers have taken care of all their debts, and so that you're not taking a property with, say, a tax or water lien. And they're going to do their due diligence. That takes a couple weeks. I'm not sure who you guys are even using for an attorney yet, but whoever is, everyone we work with, and we're very selective on our...
Emmanuel. It would be Emmanuel.
Love Emmanuel. Emmanuel's fast. He's like 10 days most on his current times. So he's going to get me what I need on my side. Styles Law is awesome. They're a fantastic group to work with. So if there's anything like wrong, they're going to take care of it. They're going to work with the seller side. You guys won't even know this is happening. So we're going to be working with the...
Yeah, because right now,
Alicia's like, I can't keep track.
Jasmine, just so you know, if you're watching on Facebook too, like they're not breathing right now, so they're like, what? So she will go through this a lot slower, I promise. But let me stop with one question too, though. What are your suggestions to people right now? I know, like, when interest rates were so low, it's like, all right, you might as well just keep, don't put any points in and just keep a low rate. So you're borrowing the bank's money. This is probably not going to be their first, like, it will be their first home, but it's not going to be their forever home. So do you suggest just go in, don't, like, save your cash, keep yourself liquid, and so long as you can make that payment, because they'll probably be getting out of it at some point anyways, and they can refi?
Spot on. So where the economists are kind of expecting rates to go is to turn, and we don't know where that mark point is. Are they going to be pivoting after they hit 6.25%, and then low means today's rate, or are they going to be back in the 3s and the 4s. I don't think we'll get 2s again because there's just no real economic benefit for a larger scale economy to do that. But we don't know where that pivot point is going to be. And so really I'm focusing on payment, your intention with the home and payment. And so if you've got, this is your step-in condo, right? Like say this is your 3-year plan. Well, we're not going to buy points that have a break even of 4 years or 5 years. We're going to really look at your intention with the property and make sure that you're not leaving yourself house poor to get into something new that you're not going to be in forever. So I'm generally in a no point situation right now. That's kind of been my advice. But then I've got people who they're on fixed income. It's a long-term property for them, and they can't wait or rely on the interest rates to turn. They're putting 30, 40% down, and this loan that they have, there's no other way to save money. You guys are going to have a loan with mortgage insurance. So that is going to be a monthly, or we can do it not monthly too, but I'm going to suggest monthly mortgage insurance. And this is going to be protecting the lender against your foreclosure. And they need that protection until either when you're buying a house, you put 20% down, they don't need the protection, or when your equity position hits 22%. And that's a big misconception. It's not the 20% mark. It's 22% based on natural payments. But the way that the market is appreciating time and time again, year over year, and while we don't expect it to stay at these crazy rates, I mean, we were seeing before the pandemic 4 to 7%, and Mary, Sharon, correct me if I'm wrong on that, the appreciation in the South Shore. But we were seeing appreciate quickly. People who purchased with me in 2017, 2018 were able to then naturally drop their mortgage insurance in 2020 and 2021. And so maybe we have some savings there and we don't focus so much on the rate, but about the payment over the course of the 5 years. So a lot goes into my advice, and it's really based on a good detailed conversation with Alicia and Kyle. Like everything is client-based. We
Jasmine, can you write that down for us?
Where's your PDF?
So do you have any questions about that? I guess no. But in all honesty,
Where do we sign?
Do you have questions for her? Well, that's actually a good point. I mean, do you feel? I mean, we put you in good hands. That must be comforting to know too that she's going to give you the best advice, right?
Absolutely.
Very comforting.
There's a lot of trust that happens in this process too, right? You trust that your agent has your best interest. There's obviously a familial connection here, so that instant trust is kind of built in, right? Like that everybody's going to take care of you. But if that wasn't there, you have to trust that your agent is giving you the right advice, that is not knowledgeable about the market, and that your lender is doing the same.
I agree.
That's why I call it a relationship. It is. It really. All I kept on thinking, Jasmine, as you were going through everything, I was like, when is she going to mention the appraisal? When is she going to mention the appraisal?
We haven't gotten there yet, guys. There's so much.
You only covered Monday.
I only covered Monday up to 11:30. I haven't even gotten to Monday afternoon yet.
Yeah. So I know that that was part of the process, and Mary was talking. I think it was it just Kyle on the phone?
Yeah.
And I can, Jasmine, you know the setup of our office, so I can hear when she's talking, and I know she hates when I do this, and then I'll just pipe in, and she has her earbuds in, and she's like what? But I can't help myself. So, but she was talking about the appraisal process and how the negotiation went. So, how many offers, Mary, were on this property? And Kyle and Alicia, did you fully understand what Mary's point was when she was bringing up this whole process?
Yeah, it was definitely something new to us, but it was something that was, again, captured in a fast-forwarded process as everything was.
So I say that they wrote a killer offer. So there were 5 offers on the property, and the team that we're working with, they did it, in my opinion, the right way. They opened it up for private showings all that week, did an open house. Actually, they didn't do any open houses that weekend because it was Mother's Day weekend. It was incredibly easy to show. They ultimately ended up getting 5 offers. And it was a very easy house to comp, right? Because there were many properties that have sold, actually 3 properties that have sold and or are under agreement in the development right now.
And one just happens to be with one of our agents, right?
Yeah, one happens to be with one of our agents. That was where we got the condo docs.
Oh.
So the way that we set up the offer is we had a very good idea of where we wanted to be from a price point perspective, based off of the comparisons. We, based off the fact that it was a newer condo, chose to waive the home inspection because we really walked through very thoroughly. And I know I know we don't like to do this, but if there was ever going to be a house, this would have been the perfect opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And essentially they told us that's what they were looking for. You know, that's the offer that's going to stand out to them.
Right.
And then the other key factor was considering any appraisal gap coverage. So that was a long conversation. Initially, we went in with no appraisal language. We just went in with a very aggressive price point, waived the home inspection. We were able to review the condo docs ahead of time, so we didn't have that as a contingency, which was amazing.
Yeah, that's good. Nice work, Mary.
And
It's
well done.
well, so the other thing,
Yeah.
the other step that we were able to take because the comps had sold in there is we actually, I say we, no, I did it. I called the other agents that had sold in that building or in the community to find out if they had any appraisal issues. So I called Teresa Roth, who's the agent at our office, and I called the other two agents. One of them was a cash offer, and the other two didn't have issues with appraisal. So that's what gave us the confidence to kind of go forward with this appraisal gap coverage when we decided to do so.
And what were you thinking through like when all this was going on? Was your head like racing, like, or were you just like, all right, she got this?
Well, I was in the middle of work.
No better time to write an offer.
No better time to write an offer. I was like terrible service in the hallway, trying to make sure that there was no patients that needed to be seen, and trying to figure out if we are going to be underwater with this appraisal gap or if we should comp that, or I don't really know the words for it. But ultimately, I felt very comfortable with Mary when she was able to find the condo docs and being able to talk to the other lenders or realtors with the comps.
With the ones under agreement.
Yeah. So
I think it was a perfect storm of being able to gather as much information ahead of time prior to writing the offer.
Exactly.
Because a lot of times that can't happen. So that put you guys in the ballpark of being able to write such a good offer.
Well, you were able to do the research before you did the offer, so it wasn't contingent upon anything. And that's why when I have listings, I want to have offers due on Tuesday, so it gives buyers the opportunity to go to town hall and do their due diligence if they have to on Monday, right? You can't have an open house on Sunday. All the offers come in on Sunday. Well, then it's contingent upon this, that, and the other thing. Just get your information. Tell me if you're staying in the game or not. So,
100%.
yeah. So, Kyle, what about you? What was your thought process?
So a lot of it was new to me as well, just a foreign topic, but for a first-time home buyer, it was very comforting to know with the appraisal gap. Mary was saying that it was coming up more 70% of houses right now that are going under contract, that you have to have some type of language in there. And again, first-time home buyer, you don't really know that process. So it's like, am I going to pay this out of pocket? And then getting to know the whole situation and how it can actually work, it was nice to know that there's different scenarios and different options that you can move with going forward. So even you can put your offer in, a real strong offer, and then still kind of figure it out down the road where you're not just having to worry about cash in pocket or cash coming out of your pocket.
Right. Yeah,
That's where Jasmine comes in.
That's where Jasmine comes in.
Jasmine will work her magic on the back end, Jasmine and George. But that was one key factor that I found myself kind of repeating to you guys, because when we were deciding on what that number amount was going to be for our appraisal gap coverage, I was like, it's not really $10,000 out of your pocket. It can be if you choose to, but it doesn't have to be.
Right.
So it's not, I'm writing a check for that money. There are options, and that's the key point, right? Is that you're not tied to one or the other.
And being able to qualify, correct, Jasmine?
Of course.
Oh yeah, and this is the thing. Being a first-time home buyer gives you a lot of flexibility, even at 5% down, because if you need to pivot, we've had this happen. Last year we had a few of them come in, and we've had to pivot from 5% to 3% because the loan is going to be based on the lower of either the sale price or the appraised value. So a small difference in the appraised value can also just mean a difference in your loan to value, and we might just have to pivot based on that. And it happens, and people feel very conflicted when they have to pay additional. Or they have to change their down payment percentage. But here's the thing: if it's the same amount of money you were going to pay over 30 years, it's just about when you're going to pay it. And as long as the payment stays comfortable, and you're planning on being in the property for a while, equity won't matter, because equity is something you realize when you sell. Really, because otherwise it's something you're tapping in and you're borrowing in against anyways. So as long as you're planning on being there, and you felt comfortable at your offer price, and you were like, this is something I'm gonna pay for over 30 years. Sometimes it's just a difference in when you're giving it. Is really the difference, and it's a mind shift.
Absolutely. I think that's where a lot of people, and we've been talking about it it's more commonplace now, I think, than it was ever before, to talk about appraisals. Literally, I had a property, so I was using this as an example for you guys, which, Jasmine, you'll have to explain this to me one day. But we had a property that we listed in Weymouth, and now it's closed now, so I can talk about this publicly, but it was on market for $499. The initial appraiser came through, and actually the buyers had waived their appraisal contingency entirely. We were under contract for $580, so $80,000 over asking. The initial appraiser came out and appraised it at $490. So $90,000 difference, and below our even list price, which is crazy to me. We were able to get a reappraisal. Another appraiser came in, appraised it at $560, and ultimately went through underwriting and ended up appraising at $580. So they bumped it up to $580. So I don't understand how something like that works, Jazz. You could tell me about that.
I'll tell you how it happens. I mean, sometimes appraisers, they're so busy, they're so backed up, they're so, like, some of them are just having a bad day, like they're not really being that thorough. I mean, that was our listing, right? So I know that you went to the appraisal, right? Was that person sort of miserable? I'm just guessing.
Yeah, she hated dogs, so I don't trust anybody who hates dogs.
Yeah.
I get a bad
I think
mojo.
it's just an animal hater. That would be my...
So
we have to be careful. What if we get that person again?
Yeah, I know. I won't say her name.
Okay.
I remember it, though. I'm never going to forget. But I think that's where, so when we talk about waiving appraisal language, that's like the nightmare, right? So the nightmare is waiving it entirely and then having it appraised $90,000 below what you're offering.
Yeah.
But so that's the worst case scenario. When we're talking about, appraisal gap coverage and making like small concessions, they're very doable, like two completely different things. So I would never be comfortable waiving an appraisal, but giving to some type of gap, I think, in today's world, it's just coming up more and more frequently.
Jasmine, you're seeing, all the offers that are going through, not just from Boston Connect, but, all the other, agents and companies that you work with. And Kyle had said that, mentioned 70% that Mary had said. I would guess that number is higher, that people are putting appraisal.
Some type of language.
Appraisal language in the offer. What are you seeing, Jasmine?
It's funny because as much as I'm seeing it, I'm seeing so many FHA loans being written right now and offers being accepted, where it was kind of like a very quiet year with FHA having those offers accepted. And for those who don't know, FHA has a clause that pretty much overrides every appraisal gap. So you can write that you're going to cover it and there's an agreement, but you're going to sign this mandatory clause that pretty much says the buyer can get out of the contract if it doesn't appraise, right? So we were seeing them being accepted so much in 2020 and 2021, and I've got an influx of FHA, which tells me that appraisal gap isn't as big of a concern as it's been the last couple of years. So again, I think it's a perspective thing. So for conventional offers, I'm seeing it a ton, and we're putting almost every loan through underwriting initially once we have an address to see if we get an appraisal waiver, because there's still so much data, so many people refinance over the last few years, and there's so much property data that Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac don't need an appraisal on every property. And so on those, we're seeing every single time we get an appraisal waiver, the appraisal gap contingency be waived, and it's because it lowers the risk. As long as that waiver stays through closing, you never need an appraisal. And so as long as you're comfortable paying what you're paying for it, that's the market value, and that is what value is, what you're willing to pay.
That's literally what Sharon, so when she was saying, she was not yelling at me, but yelling to me while I was on the phone with Kyle. That's what she was saying. She was like, it's just, if they're happy paying for it, then it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, if they're happy paying the price. And I'm like, I know, we've already talked about this.
Yeah, because the sale price isn't changing. Right. It's just, and again, though,
it's being allocated.
It's a mindset, too, though. I mean, there are a lot of people, let's face it, if I go to buy a pair of shoes and you know what I mean, and they're worth $50, I certainly don't want to pay $75 for them, right? So it's like a mind thing.
Yes.
Right? So
it's
tell us,
well, that was our offer or that number was our offer, but with that appraisal gap, if it doesn't get appraised for what we were going to offer, that's definitely something scary. Like, did we just do you feel like you're overpaying? Overpay like by an enormous amount, like that Weymouth house spending like $90,000 over what it was appraised for. Like at that point, I feel like I would have heart palpitations. Being like, oh my goodness, I just spent almost $100,000.
Thinking that you overpaid and made a bad investment, right?
Absolutely.
I mean,
That's more when
especially
it's about a bad investment.
bad investment.
You're
And
never gonna get that back, and if you ever wanted to resell it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And too, I don't know, Jasmine, what your thoughts are, but I don't think that we're in a bubble. I don't think anything's crashing, but I do certainly feel us flattening out a bit here. So I feel like we're not going to continuously see, these higher prices over asking the way that we did. I think inventory is going to get even scarcer come fall, just because, and I said this a couple weeks ago, when I refinanced my house several years ago, I think my interest rate is like 2.375 or something, right? I mean, really, really low.
Never leave.
Why would I? Right? Like, why would I sell my house to buy another house that may not even be the same condition or value or whatever, just to get, a higher one? So I feel like our inventory will be lower. But I think it's good that you guys jumped in when you did. Jasmine, you have something to say about that?
Oh yeah, so I mean I'm not going to go too deep, but I don't think we're in a bubble. you guys know I'll geek out. I won't do that to you. But here's
She
the
gets
thing.
so excited. By the way, you have to meet her in person, because when we have her on the radio, she's just
Very
passionate.
Very passionate.
But go ahead, get that passion out, girl.
I love numbers. Until it is cheaper to rent than buy, you're going to have a big influx of people in the market. We've got millennials entering into the market where people thought we wouldn't see them entering in right now, but they're finally at family-forming ages. And then we've got Gen Z coming right behind them. And I think it's like 120 million people expected to enter the market in the next few years. Where are those houses? And in certain cities, they're overbuilding beyond demand, and they're building at a higher price point that it's not attainable for first-time home buyers. And so we might see some small pocket bubbles where there's just been an overbuild. But here in Massachusetts, and even kind of the whole Northeast, we are not seeing that. We are not seeing new construction building at, really high rates. We're in a really highly paid area, so everything costs more. And so builders aren't building to the scope that they were before. And so until we have enough houses, or until it's cheaper to rent, we are going to be staying in an appreciating market. And here's the thing. It really doesn't matter. People keep talking about the rates going up, and people keep talking about limited inventory. As long as you can get in, as long as you can get, a comfortable monthly payment, and if you're going to hang on to it for a little bit of time, value isn't the most important thing, and it's really the scary thing when we're talking about these appraisal gaps is the access to your cash. It takes a long time to save that money. And so it's very scary for buyers to get in there and go, okay, now I'm going to have $10,000 that will just be allocated to overpaying. So even though the value might be fine and you can get around that mentally, overspending on your cash is tough to do. And so it comes down to balancing, making sure you've got money at the end of the day, that you're comfortable with that payment, and that you can afford that crazy thing we like food and electricity.
Who needs food? But Jasmine, we actually just have 2 minutes left here, so we're going to be wrapping up. Can you give everybody your contact information, so if they want to talk to you about getting a loan, how can they reach you?
Yeah, thanks for letting me crash, guys. It's Team Maritime, and my email's team@maritimeloan.com, or you can reach me on my cell, 774-240-4667, and George and I'd be happy to help.
Perfect. And if you didn't get any of that information, you can always feel free to give us a call at the office. Our number is easy to remember, 781-826-8000. Kyle, Alicia, final thoughts for our final seconds? What'd you think?
I'm just really happy that we found this place and have worked with you guys. So this has been an amazing process, and so I just want to say thank you. And this is the best team ever.
So cute, Kyle.
Copy and paste.
Copy and paste. We like that. And also, we are putting a new listing on the market this week at 700 Center Street in Pembroke. It is a 4-bedroom colonial. So if you want information on that, you can give us a call. 781-294-4848 is my cell phone number. And also, I just want to put out to my WATD listeners, please send prayers to my family. My dad had a terrible fall on Thursday, still in the hospital, and we just really need him to recover and get better. So please send prayers his way. So thank you, everybody. Bye, Tim. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.